Hello and welcome to Precon Decon, the video series where I deconstruct the pre-constructed decks of Magic the Gathering's history. This video is a little special because we're actually going to be looking at two decks in this one, and yeah, as you'll see, they're very special. You may be intrigued here by the title Global Series 1. You might be, I've never heard of the Global Series before. It's because there is only one Global Series set. So let's explain a little what that is. So these are Planeswalker decks, but it's also weird because it's also kind of like a starter set and a dual deck at the same time. So, have a little background on the Global Series. So, this was a set that was created kind of intended specifically for the Chinese market, and it was intended to, like get more, more Chinese players involved in playing Magic. And basically, it was originally released first in simplified Chinese, and then later there was an English translation for international markets. But I believe you could only get it in Chinese markets, and I suppose through international sellers, I suppose. But they weren't released in, say, like Europe or the States or whatever. Like you could only, in shops there, you wouldn't be able to, I guess, get it from a local game store there. And what the thing is, so I guess it's actually very similar if you think back to Portal 3 Kingdoms, if you're familiar with that, where it was a set that was designed for for a different market, based around the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which is a huge epic poem as far as I remember, or it's a story, something like that, as a way to to get people interested and say like, oh hey, I know what that is, and oh there's a card game of it, that sounds pretty interesting. So it's very similar to that. Except the difference here, rather than being based on like a real story or anything, this is the two characters portrayed here are they're brand new characters. It is meant to be canon with the Magic storyline. In fact, we see both these characters, Zhang and Mu, show up in later sets. Like Zhang is in War of the Spark, I think, and Mu is in uh, Core Set 2020. And the cards in the deck, so it's all brand new cards. It's not tied to a particular set. Like the contents are, for the most part, completely new. There are a few like reprints in here, and it is, it's a lot simpler experience. It is sort of designed as a starter set for brand new players to play the game. And so there are brand new cards in here. There's a lot of weird legality. They are standard legal only, or they were only standard legal in China only. They weren't in international markets, and then they're not legal in modern, but they are legal in legacy and vintage. But you would probably never play them in legacy and vintage because basically all the cards in here are they're very simplified. A lot of them are kind of overcosted version of the cards that already exist, because I guess there was this push to like, oh, we don't want to put like these like super good cards into this this product that has limited availability. So that's basically the story of it. I don't know how successful it was because this was the only global series. We never got global series like 2 or 3 or whatever. This is the only one. But yeah, this is the way it was presented in a box like this, and you got both the decks and probably like a how to play booklet and all that kind of stuff. So it was intended for for new players to pick up and each take a deck each, like dual decks, which we will get to one day, and play these decks against one another. So yeah, that's a little kind of background on the global series. So we're going to dive in, look at the two decks. They're very simple decks, and like it didn't feel right to like split them up. So I am going to discuss both in this video. So might be slightly longer than normal. So yeah, we're going to dive in and look at both decks. They're both dual color decks. So one is so Zhang's deck is green red, and Mu Yangling's deck is white blue, which is that's like the simplest I think color combinations for new players to learn. And yeah, it's really exciting because like all these cards have brand new art and stuff. So yeah, it's quite exciting to look at. It's such a weird little product, and I think it's really charming, honestly. So the first step we're going to look at is Zhang Yangyu. By the way, I'm going to do my best. I'm probably going to mangle some of the pronunciation of some of these cards because they have like names based on creatures or places from like Chinese mythology. In my defense, I'm a very basic white British guy, so I'm going to do my best to do pronunciations. If I pronounce it wrong, yell at me in the comments. I'll do my best. Anyway, so Zhang Yangyu is green red. Let's take a look at the deck list. So we've got 22 creatures, 8 sorceries, 2 instants, 2 enchantments, 25 land, and of course a single planeswalker. And we've got a mana curve off to the side there. So let's start by looking at Zhang Yangyu himself. So 4 and a green for a 4 loyalty planeswalker. So cheaper than normal, because in these planeswalker decks we usually see them at 6 and casting cost of 6 and 5 starting loyalty. So his abilities are all pretty straightforward. So his +1 is to give a creature +2/+2 turn, which is, that's perfectly fine. His -1, this is really nice actually. If you don't control a creature named Mowu, you create a legendary 3/3 green hound, I guess it's a dog now, creature token named Mowu, and the product came with like a token for Mowu, which is really nice. So yeah, just this is actually really good for one of these Planeswalker deck Planeswalkers, because a big thing about Planeswalkers is being able to protect themselves. Like if you play this to an empty field, Zhang can immediately go -1, pop out a 3/3 token. At least that keeps him safe for a turn. He can something he can he's produced something that can block and protect him. So that's okay. And then his -5, it's actually really nice it's a -5, because you actually don't then need a lot of turns to build up to his ultimate. Until end turn, target creature gets trample and gets +X/+X, where X is the number of lands you control. So yeah, this is really nice. I think it's a really cheap, straightforward ultimate. There's a lot of big creatures in his deck, so yeah, everything's going to appreciate that. So yeah, I think Zhang Yangyu is a pretty good planeswalker, honestly. And then I was going to say these are his signature cards, but I guess every card in the deck is a signature card because they don't show up anywhere else. But so we've got 2 Journey for the Elixir, which is 2 and a green. Set your library in a graveyard for a basic land card and a card named Zhang Yangyu. Reveal them and put them into your hand. So this is pretty cool. Again, it's a nice cheap search spell, which is something I'm noticing is actually I quite like in these Planeswalker decks when the search spell is quite cheap. And this is just like search up a land. And Yango and put them into play. So there was the very similar one to this, like Nissa's one in Hour of Devastation, which searched up like a forest and Brambleweb, Behemoth, and Nissa, and it was like 5 mana or something. It was really expensive. So I like this is only at 3. So this is actually, I think, pretty good and helps ramp up into some of the big creatures the deck has. We've got 3 Sacred White Deer, 1 and a green for a 2/2. You spay 3 and a green and tap it, gain 4 life. Activate this ability only if you control a Yanggu Planeswalker. So yeah, this is kind of what I mean, like the cards in the deck being kind of actually this isn't actually a great example of it. Like there's better examples later on, but because this could show up in some of the other Planeswalker decks we've seen out, because I say some of the Planeswalker buddy cards we've had have been really, really atrocious. Yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? So at the very least, it's a 2/2 for 2 with an ability that you might be able to trigger off at some point and gain some life. It's fine. And then 4 Reckless Pangolin. This deck, by the way, loves pangolins. there's a few pangolin related cards. So 2 and a green for a 2/2 when it attacks, gets +1/+1 turn 10. We've seen this creature like a load of times, like 3 mana 2/2 that goes up to 3/3 when it attacks. Yep, this is fine. That's obviously like kind of the core of the deck, like this crazy little pangolin. So we've got a single Screeching Phoenix, which is the most un-Phoenixy Phoenix in all of Magic, I think. So 4 and double red for a 4/4 flyer, which is okay. And then 2 and a red, creature you control get +1/+0 to end to turn. So yeah, like really solid stats. That's essentially, we're looking at kind of like a red dragon kind of stats there, aren't we? Like 6 mana for a 4/4 flyer. Nice board wide kind of like pump effect, which is okay, but it's a terrible Phoenix because it has no way of coming back from the dead, which is kind of what defines Phoenixes. Anyway, but yeah, it's still a big old flyer. We've got 2 Fire Omen Cranes, 3 and double red for a 3/3 flyer. When it attacks, it does 1 damage to target creature and opponent controls. This is actually quite nice. I don't think there's a direct comparison for this card to something in regular Magic sets. Actually, thinking about this, just like a 3/3 flyer that sort of pings a creature when it attacks. But yeah, I like it's okay. It's really nice actually. There are some flying creatures in this deck because Mu Yangling's deck is absolutely full of flying creatures. So there's some sort of counterplay here. 2 Earth-Shaking Sea, so 5 and a green just for a 5/5 trample. Yep, just a big old boy for smashing. Very little in Mu Yangling's deck that can stand up to this, actually, because her deck is more like blue-white skies, so like a lot smaller creatures. So this would be kind of a game-ending play for the Zhang Yangyu deck. We've got 3 Fey snakes, 1 and a green for a 2/1 with reach. Weird, for a snake to have reach. It's happened before actually. I think there's one in Theros that has reach. But yeah, again, it's nice counterplay because there's a lot of flying creatures in the other deck, so at least this doesn't feel, it doesn't feel like too one-sided. But yeah, this is okay. Obviously, it's someone from Zendikar, Grappler Spider. Like, it's not ideal. You know what I mean? This is like an example of like, although these cards are technically legal in certain formats, like so if you did get them, you could use them. You just never would you really? 2 giant spiders. So this is actually one of the few sort of actual reprints in the product. Yep, we know what giant spider is. 3 and a green, 2/4 with reach. Yep. And then 3 ferocious Zeng, 2 double green for a 4/4. Yep, that's fine. Just a big old beefy 4/4. That's absolutely fine. And 2 leopard spotted Zhao, 1 and a red for just a 3/1. So yeah, a lot of just vanilla BT creatures, which is absolutely fine, I think, for a product which is definitely more designed towards brand new players. And then we got 2 Breath of Fire. This makes me so sad, but also like I know it can't be too good. So 1 and a red instant does 2 damage to target creature. So it is like it's just not wonderful, is it? It's just like a much worse shock. For 1 extra, it can only hit creatures as well. But again, I get it has to be designed this way so it doesn't serve as like shocks. A 5 to 8 essentially in certain constructed formats. It's okay, and again in the kind of the bubble of these 2 decks against each other, this is perfectly fine because a lot of the creatures in the other deck actually have quite low toughness, so this would actually be okay. Then we've got 2 Cleansing Screech, 4 and a red, does 4 damage to any target. Sorcery speed, so yeah, slightly bigger burn spell if Breath of Fire is not enough to do the job. 2 Aggressive Instinct, 1 and a green, target creature control deals damage to its power to target creature you don't control. This is actually nice, it's a one-sided fight effect, so this is actually quite nice. Extra bit of removal in here. 2 Confidence from Strength. This is the thing, there's like some really good card names in this product as well, as we'll see when we get to Mu Yanglings, especially some really like great like names of cards which are like, oh, such a shame they've been used for this this kind of introductory product with like quite basic effects. But anyway, so Confidence from Strength, 2 and a green, sorcery speed, target creature gets +4/+4 and gains trample on 10/10. So sorcery speed buff, never really that great, but at least this gives trample, I suppose. So it's quite a big buff actually for 3 mana, +4/+4 and trample. So yeah, I think this is okay. It's again, in the environment these 2 decks against each other where they're both kind of janky, this is like perfectly fine. And then 2 Hardened Scale Armor, 2 and a green, for an aura, goes on a creature, gives them +3/+3. So it's essentially just a functional reprint of Oaken Form. But again, this is like a really big play actually for the deck because the blue-white deck really doesn't have a lot to counter this. I don't think it has any kind of enchantment destruction or anything. So the best it can do is like maybe bounce it. So yeah, this would actually be a pretty threatening card for the deck to play actually. And then 4 Timber Gorges, which is just a red-green tap land, but it's nice to have not a non-basic land in a very introductory product like this because they're so fundamental to the game these days. And then 12 Forests and 9 Mountains. So that's pretty cool. Obviously not going to do a what could have been because there's just no way I can do a what could have been with this product. So we're going to move straight on. Actually, no, we're going to look. You also get this. This is technically another card for the deck. The lovely double-sided token of Mobu. Ah, look at him. What a cute little pupper. So I guess we'll move straight on to Mu Yangling. As I can't do what could have been. So Mu Yangling's deck is blue-white. Decklist here, so 22 creatures, 7 instants, 4 sorceries, 1 enchantment, 25 land, of course a single Planeswalker, and mana curve off to the side there. So let's take a look at Mu Yangling, this first appearance. So 4 and double blue for 5 loyalty, so again, like that standard stat line we've seen before. So +2, target creature can't be blocked this turn. That, right off the bat, is really nice. Just be able to make something unblockable, that's pretty good. -3 is draw 2 cards, which again is perfectly good. And then her ultimate, -10, tap all creatures your opponents control, and then you take an extra turn. So you do that main phase 1. That is, you've got 2 turns of wailing on your opponent there. That's really good. And that would be, I think, a game ender. Obviously, it takes a lot more to build up to it than Yangu's ultimate, which is only +5 and is essentially just buffing 1 creature. But yeah, it's nice to actually have the comparison between the two. That Zhang's ability is a lot cheaper and lower impact, whereas Mu Yangling's are slightly more expensive but have bigger effects, and that's just a nice thing to have for a product like this, I think, for new players. So Yangling's cards, let's have a look. So we got 2 Rhythmic Water Vortex. You know what I mean? That's just a fantastic name for a card, Rhythmic Water Vortex. It's 3 in double blue. Return up 2 target creatures to their owner's hand. Search your library and/or graveyard for Moo Yangling. Reveal it and put it to your hand. If you, yeah, usual thing. This I think is almost identical to the search spell that Jace had in the Ixalan one, Jace Ingenious Mind Mage. His was very, very similar to this. I think it was also 5 to cast it. It might have been 4 in a blue rather than 3 in double blue, but this is almost identical. But it's it's sorcery speed bounce, admittedly, but it is returning more than one thing, so it's okay, and it is also doubling up as a search spell as well. So yeah, this is fine. 3 Moon Eating Dog. It's 3 in a blue for a 3/3, so Hill Giant stats. But if you control a Yangling Planeswalker, it has flying, so it goes up to being a Phantom monster. Yep, this is fun. It's actually really fun. I've just noticed that like both decks have little dog companions, which is actually really sweet. I think. Yeah, I think this is fine. And then a single Ancestor Dragon, so this one, the rares in the deck. 4 double white for a 5/6 flying. Whenever one or more creatures you control attack, you gain 1 life for each attacking creature. So yeah, that's okay. It's Righteous Cause, I think, is the white enchantment that has this effect. And also it's just a big 5/6 flyer, isn't it? Which is perfectly good. Like not much in the Yangu deck can actually stand up to this if it attacks, unless you have like a giant spider with the hardened scale armor, maybe. But yeah, this is I would say one of the main win conditions, honestly, and also it gains a bunch of life to stabilize, which is all right. But yeah, and then a bunch of flyers because we're blue white skies. So 2 Stormcloud Spirits, which is 3 in double blue for a 4/4 flyer. So just air elemental wearing a different face. There's a really cool big cloud eagle, which is great. 2 Heavenly Kailin, 2 and a white for a 2/2 flying. So like Windrake stats, when it attacks, gives another creature flying until end of turn, which is okay. This is actually, I think this is really nice. Actually, give another creature evasion when it attacks. Yeah, on 3 mana body. That's actually pretty good, I think. 2 Colourful Feyye Sparrow, 1 and a white for a 1/3 with flying. Yep, it's there's like a bunch of Pegasi that are like this stat line, aren't they? Yeah, again, just a good early play, so it's evasive and then can also be an okay blocker. 2 Welkin 10. This is one of the other reprints in the deck. So 1 in blue for a 2/1 with flying, can only block other creatures with flying. So basically, if you're playing these decks against each other, can't block anything in Zhang's deck. Oh no, it can. It can block the phoenixes and the cranes, can't it? Of course it can. So there we go. And then I think this is actually the worst card in the whole product. It's actually baffling to me of how bad it is. The Vivid Flying Fish. So 1 in blue for a 1/1. So immediately, like, we've got 2 mana for a 1/1, which is not ideal. And it has flying as long as it's attacking. So this is actually worse than just a 1/1 for 1 with flying. And it's really frustrating because, there's no... these are it for in terms of this set with this, the set icon and stuff, the global series. It's not like you had a booster in the product to like swap this out, so you were just stuck with this. This is just that is an aggressively bad card, even for a product like this. But again, I suppose it's new players would be able to identify it's a bad card and like they'd feel good about knowing it's a bad card and teaches deck building. So I suppose in that case, in this instance, it's all fulfilling that kind of purpose, I suppose. 2 Armored World Turtle, 2 in a blue for a 0/5. That is overcosted for its stats, but again, in this environment of these two decks against each other, I think that's fine because that basically holds off anything in the other deck. Very few things can kind of get over this, honestly. 2 Ninetail White Fox. This is really nice, actually. I really wish this this actually got a functional reprint at some point. It's actually it'd probably be underpowered by today's standards anyway, but it's 2 in a blue for a 2/2 whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So it's Stealer of Secrets, which is, even that's not like a great card, but like, it's just such nice artwork on this and just, it's just really cool. Really like this. And then 2 Purple Crystal Crab. So 1 in a blue for a 1/1. When it dies, you draw a card. Yep. That's fine. And it will die because it's only got 1 toughness. And then 2 Earth Origin Yak. This is actually, I think, all right. So 3 and a white for a 2/4. When it ends the battlefield, all your creatures get +1/+1 to end turn. So that's actually, I think that's actually all right. That's not terrible. A big chunky 2/4 that then buffs the board by +1/+1. That's actually okay, I think. And then non-creature spells. So we've got 3 Dragon's Presence. 2 and a white does 5 damage to target attacking a blocking creature. So yeah, this is okay. This kills pretty much everything in the other deck, unless it's been buffed up or whatever. So that's actually a really solid removal spell. I like that. And also it teaches, this kind of timing of mid-combat, which is good for new players. 2 Kylin's Blessing, 1 white mana, just give +2/+2 to end turn with nothing else. It's like the most basic white pump spell. But yeah, it's absolutely fine in this environment. 2 Brilliant Plans. This, I think, is actually a reprint from Portal 3 Kingdoms. Not this art, but like the card, the effect. 4 and a blue, sorcery, draw 3 cards. Yep, that's fine. I think that's absolutely fine. 5 mana for 3 cards at sorcery speed. That's all right. And then another really, really cool card name, which makes me sad that it's never going to be used again, is Drown in Shapelessness. 1 the blue, instant return target creature to his owner's hand. So it's an overcosted unsummon, but the extra the extra mana is going to having a much cooler name. Yeah, I'd love to see Drown in Shapelessness at some point show up again, but yeah, I don't know. It's just a really cool name. It's just a shame they'll never be seen again. And then a single Cloak of Mists. So actually, this is a reprint as well, I think, from an old Urza set. 1 a blue, aura goes on a creature. Actually, it's really nice that both decks have an aura, just to sort of teach that, I suppose. 1 a blue, enchanted creature can't be blocked. Just turn a creature unblockable. There's already a lot of evasive creatures in the deck anyway. They've all got flying, but yeah, making them definitely unblockable never hurts, I suppose. And then 4 Meandering Rivers, which is the white-blue tap land, and then 12 islands and 9 plains. And yeah, once again, we can't do what could have been. So I really hope you like looking at the global series there. I think they're really nice little decks, actually. I think they serve, this really nice purpose as being both a starter set and like kind of a dual deck thing, and it'd be nice to, for people to pick them up and, if they're getting into the game and learn the game this way. Because, they're fairly simple, straightforward decks. And they're not awful, are they? They're actually okay. Yeah, it's just a shame we didn't get any more like global series products like this. It would have been nice to see, like, I don't know, like if they tried to market into other like regions and stuff, and like if they'd sort of like used mythologies and stories of like that region as basis for like new Planeswalker characters and like new cards, that would have been pretty cool, I think. It's kind of like predicting, like, oh, what regions would you want to see in Pokemon and stuff, and like what potential that has as well. So I think it's a real missed opportunity that we didn't get like more of it. So if you've got like if there's like a particular like maybe like region or country or whatever that you think would have done really well as a global series project, like stick a comment below. That'd be really interesting actually to see what people's thoughts were on that. But yeah, if you got any thoughts or stories about or comments or thoughts, anything like that on the product as a whole, again, stick a comment down below. Really interested to see what people think about this, because I was actually really looking forward to talking about these, because it's been a while since we've had what I would say like an actual real starter level product on here as well. And also it's kind of like a preview of how I'm going to be doing the dual deck videos as well, because they are designed to go against one another. The one downside, I suppose, is like there's no black cards, I suppose. Like we never got to see like a nice exclusive like art, a swamp art or something, or like what some cool black cards would be based on this kind of mythology and like this new plane that was set in. But yeah, anyway, maybe we'll return to Shen Meng at some point in the future. That'd be cool. Anyway, I'm rambling. Really hope you enjoyed this look at the global series, which is like such a, I think, a hidden little gem of Magic's pre-constructed history. Yeah, but we'll be back next time. We're going to move on to, what is it next? The core set. The first core set decks actually we've had for a really long time as well. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, so we'll see you next time. Until then, thanks for watching and listening, and have a great day.